Hello everyone, and welcome to my last accomplishment of 2020, which is leveling my shade to 250, my fourth 250 down in the road to 10k, which I may or may not eventually get. I want to make a video on how I did it, similar to what Austin is doing on his road to 10k series. I am not going to fund my characters as heavy as he is. I'm probably also not going to go in as much detail as he is, so take a look at his videos as well. I'm mainly sharing my insight, and it's up to you what you do with the information. I just hope that it's helpful to those who plan to level the shade past 200. I noticed that a lot of you came in through the Liberation video, which got a really significant increase in views lately, and I also got a large amount of subscribers coming in now, so thank you to all who subscribed to the channel. Welcome, by the way. Hope you enjoy your stay. If you're watching this in 2021, hope you had a happy New Year's. If you watched this before New Year's, I hope you have a happy New Year's as well, of course. Don't do anything stupid, don't blow off fingers with illegal firework or get slammed drunk and then do things you regret later. Please don't, for the love of God. Anyway, on the 23rd of February, I uploaded a video on this channel called Influ Reaches 250, and in there I already wrote that the next 250 will be Shade, and it didn't take me 9 months of leveling to get here, because really, it's not that bad. Shade is really not a terrible grinder at all. It's mainly that I had other priorities to work on, so if you're wondering why it took so long, this is why. There were other things that needed attention first. So, with that introduction out of the way, let's go into the shade and let's talk about the equipment first. Most notable, if you're doing this at rec servers, you absolutely need frenzy service to speed this up to enjoyable heights. If you're not gonna do this with frenzy service, or you have your own totem like I do, then wild totem or kitchen service will do fine. I really recommend you get any type of spawn boosting, because otherwise this is gonna be painful. Any 250 is honestly going to be painful. For the gear, everything I have is scrolled to some extent with either spell traces or goddess scrolls in case it's about accessories. It's cubed for 2-line main pots. It's flamed with any flame that I would consider decent, like none of these are really spectacular if you look at it. And it's star forced to 15 stars. Most of them are 16 stars because of 5, 10, 15. 4 pieces, I'm still waiting for the next one. And I have a 1droid android from the recent 1droid event. I had the coins to buy one, so I figured I'd buy one, and I put it on the shade, which gives this a better heart for star force purposes than the others do. For arcane symbols, I have, as you can see, anywhere between level 7 and level 12 symbols, for a total of 6,800 arcane force and an extra 30 because of guild. If you're gonna level, with my funding, 540 for the extra bonus in Arcana is more than enough. I did not level in Esfera at all, because I'm simply not strong enough for it. What I also have besides the Frenzy is my Firestarter ring. I plucked this off my second main and put this on the hero during the last cash up transfer. And it's really useful for grinding characters to 250, as you no longer need Firestarter servers and you also don't need to rely on changing channels and finding empty maps, so it's pretty nice. I also have one vac pad on this. This will also speed up loot cycles and make it so that you don't miss a lot of drops or have to go out of your way to find them. This is not mandatory at all. Neither is Firestarter. The only thing I'd really say mandatory is Frenzy, or an alternative spawn booster, but it's really helpful. And if you have one and you don't mind cycling it around through characters for leveling purposes, then this is what you do with it. Equipment. Alright, let's talk about hyperstats, inner ability, and hyper skills. So, inner first. I personally just picked a line of Meso, a line of Drop, and a line of Allstat. That's honestly, for me, more than enough. If you're gonna go legendary, you could pretty much do the same. You could change this into a line of damage against monsters. What are other options? I don't think attack speed is necessary for Shades, as far as I know. They don't need it, especially for grinding. There are a couple of options, but personally, for my mules, I just go Meso Drop. And any third line that I would that just gives anything. In my case, just 8 all stats, more than enough. For the hyper stats, 2 points into crit rate to ensure I have 90 crit rate and 100 once decent sharp rises up. As much crit damage and damage as I can get, just to deal more damage against mobs. 10, or in my case 11 points into bonus EXP, and I had a spare point that I threw in boss damage, which is only useful for elite mobs, elite bosses, and elite champions. I didn't put a single point in IED, and if you're not planning to boss on a shade and you're mainly going to grind, you definitely do not need the IED. Maybe with some min-maxing, extra points in strength or extra points in attack, maybe needed to get a little bit extra power. Maybe you put some points in arcane power if you need it for extra arcane force. That's entirely up to you. I just did it this way. For the hyper skills, let's go over those first. I put my points in Spirit Claw Reinforce, Spirit Claw Boss Rush, Spirit Claw Extra Strike, Bomb Punch Reinforce, and Bomb Punch Spread. I didn't put a point in crit chance because I simply do not need the crit chance. And honestly, if you have any forms of crit boost, then you don't need this either. I want to get 100% even on every single skill, so I don't need this. If you're stronger than me, I recommend you put the points from Spirit Claw into the points for Firefox Spirit, all 3 of them. If you're gonna grind, because these will most likely help you with killing mobs, as the Firefox Spirits can also kill, obviously. This is pretty much entirely up to you. If you don't have the damage or a similar funding range as I am, then I'd say do not put these here. They're likely not going to help a lot. And active skills such as active skills. For the V matrix, I have 4 skills that I boost with my nodes. Spirit Claw and True Spirit Claw, Spirit Frenzy, Fox Spirits, Spirit Incarnation, Bomb Punch, and Death Mark. I just threw them all through each other so that all skills get hit twice, but I didn't have like separate tricores. If you're gonna separate the tricores, I would recommend you make a core that consists of Fox Spirit, Bomb Punch, and Spirit Incarnation, and make a second core that has Frenzy, Claw, and Death Mark. The latter core is more suited for bossing, while the former is more suited for grinding in my opinion. These 3 will help you grinding a lot, and these 3 will help you bossing more. These are also useful for grinding, by the way, so don't mind. You can still put points in them, and I did that. So these 4 I have, and I always max those first. Like, starting at level 205, or at level 200 even, with 100% final damage on them, is really good. And at 210, having them boosted to 120% final damage is also really good. It's just a lot of damage output, which may help you in the early funding ranges, if you have access to the node slots, or to the node shards, and I do. For shade skills, I highly recommend you max Spirit Flow. It gives you extra damage passively in the background, it gives you extra final damage, and every skill point that you put in it will increase the duration by a second. So it's simply going to be up more, from 31 seconds at level 1 to 60 seconds at level 30. So you're comparing a 50% and a 25% uptime, basically. It's pretty good. So if you have the shards, absolutely max this. I also maxed Spirit Gate, because every point in this lowers the cooldown. I'm not sure what the base cooldown is, I thought it was 2 minutes, and maxed it's a minute and a half. So it has more uptime as well, if you do this. For True Spirit Claw, 1 point is enough. Especially if you're already strong enough to one-shot with Bomb Punch, then True Spirit Claw level 1 is more than fine. If you're gonna main it, obviously max this. It's a no-brainer. For smashing multi-punch, I didn't use this a single time during grinding, at all. This, to me, is mainly a bossing skill, and I have other things that I put on the board instead to grind with. If you want to use it for elite bosses, it's absolutely valuable, it's pretty strong, but I didn't do it. I just stuck to these 3. For Decents and other skills, you may be shocked to see that I only have level 1 Decent HS base. And I didn't grind this character a lot with drop gear, and I didn't grind it with drop cards, I just grinded for the XP, and nothing else. Because I have a Meso Farmer, which I do things on for drop. So for me, the extra drop rate is definitely not an added value, and I don't think the extra EXP justifies the amount of node shards that you need to invest to max this skill. If you want to max it, if you're gonna like grind past 250 or want to main this, and obviously this helps a lot, for just getting to 250, this was fine, and I didn't do anything else with it. Loaded dice, really, really valuable skill. You can lock either a damage boost or an EXP boost, 30% EXP and 20% damage, I believe, from the top of my head. It's so good. It gives you 16 attack as well, passively, so definitely put this on the board. I used, for decents, Speed Infusion, Combat Orders, and Sharp Eyes. I would say that Sharp Eyes and Speed Infusion are the most valuable ones, and Combat Orders can potentially be skipped. I just run it on pretty much every character. For the last skills, I put a point in Rope Lift, and that's mainly thanks to the layout of Arcana's map, which I'll show later. I put a point in True Arachnic of Reflection as well, mainly because it's extra kill speed. The other skills that I have that are somewhat worth are Freud's Wisdom, Maple Goddess Blessing, and Overdrive, which is all for bossing. You can use Earth Shower, it will speed up your grinding. I actually didn't even think about it until it was already 250. You can do that, it's completely up to you. I don't think it's really all that fantastic. But this layout I used all the way to 250. And if you want to talk about priorities, boost nodes are important, these two are important, HS and loaded dice are important, True Spirit Claw is important, and the rest is just personal preference. Sharp Eyes I'd say is semi-important, Rope Lift becomes important as soon as you go to Arcana, the others are nice, but really just do whatever. It doesn't really matter all too much. Those skills are the ones you need. For Legion, I put max crit rate, max bonus EXP, max attack, max main stat, and max crit damage. All of these to me are valuable for grinding purposes. I would consider buff duration, but Shade has one buff and it's Maple Warrior. And honestly, that is absolutely not worth putting an entire grid into buff duration for. For other characters, I may move to buff duration, in favor of either EXP, crit rate, or a mix of, whatever is most suited. One more thing that I will need to show before we go to the maps is my familiar, because I was able to pull a item drop rate by a large amount familiar, so I basically have no need for Lucky Winters, as this does the exact same thing. I used this while I was grinding to get at least some form of drop boost, because any drop boost is still useful. And that's what I did. Alright, now that I've talked enough about the setup, let's talk about grinding maps. Also, feel free to freely cast Hero's Echo, because Spirit Flow is also a cooldown reset. So it will reset the cooldown of Hero's Echo. A few general tips before we go to the maps. First, what you absolutely, I cannot stress this enough, need to master is bump punch animation cancelling. Normally, when you bump punch, you have a really long landing lag. As you can see, I'm holding left, but it actually takes a while before I move. And this is going to get incredibly annoying during grinding. But there is a way around it. If you press your jump button before you land, you will cancel the animation and the landing lag of bump punch. Like this. Like, you can do it like this and it will be up more. And if you combine it with flash jump, this is something you'll be doing a lot. So it's basically just jump, bump punch, and cancel bump punch before you land. And that way, you have a much smoother grinding experience. Compared to not doing it, because then you get this. See, this is really awkward and slow. This is a lot more fluid. So make sure you master this. Practice it a few times if needed, do it during grinding, but you need to master this. Other things. Use this when it's off cooldown. Like, seriously, it's really good. You really want to have this up and using as many times as you can. And I'll show you why later. I use Spirit Gate when Spirit Flow is off cooldown. Or actually, no, sorry, when it's on cooldown. To get some extra kill power in. Spirit Incarnation is honestly whenever I feel like it, usually during Gate. I use Spirit Incarnation as well. I'll get to boss, like to elite boss stuff later. So, let's talk about maps. I'm not gonna go into detail until the road to 200 because there is like a plethora of guides for 200. I'll start at 200, and as a Shade, you either go to Below the Cave, or Eastern Cave Path 2, whichever you prefer. I went to Below the Cave. And it's open, that's very nice. Let me get rid of the anti-AFK mob, very good. Put my decents up. There we go. Alright, now I don't have a Lucid Soul. If you have a Lucid Soul, I'd say you put it here on the left side. And what you'll mainly be doing, this is your default stuff, is just bomb punch jumping from left to right. Like this. This is what you do. And you basically jump left and right. You have Foxfire Spirits in the background which can attack. And you just repeat this all the way. Now, what you can do when you reach the end, you can use your backstep ability, which is a beginner ability, to cancel out of it and turn around. Like so. You can basically do this all sorts of ways. So, like that would work. That is if you'll do that in a different map, if you want. But for now, just jump left and right. Lucid's on the left side. If you have Spirit Incarnation off cooldown, or Spirit Flow, then you just use it and let the spirits attack in the background while you just keep jumping left and right. What you're mainly aiming for is a few procs of Spirit Incarnation, which is this ability. It will just basically clear the map for you in the background. Now I need to get lucky on it obviously, because this is like recorders or streamers curse. Whenever you want something to happen it doesn't. There it is. When this happens, like this, you can just ignore that part, because Spirit Incarnation will kill everything for you. You can just jump onward to the other area. And you just repeat this, all the way. You can use True Spirit Claw in the corners, if you want. True Spirit Claw can also be cancelled by backstab, by the way, so what you could do is like this. It will still attack, but the animation won't show. And you just basically jump and continue to kill. Eventually, obviously, Spirit Flow will be on cooldown. And what I then would do is drop your gate anywhere in the corner and just continue. The gate will take care of mobs in the corner and you can just keep flash jumping left and right. You can even decide to skip this area. I wouldn't, I would just keep going here and just keep going. And just jump left and right until you're 205. Alright, at 205, I recommend, if you have the funding at least, go to Reverse City and go to Hidden Research Train. This map is so good. Like, I don't know why the base XP of these mobs in particular are twice the base XP of the rest of Reverse City, but my god do I take it. Rotation here, Lucid Soul if you have it here, in this place, and you just basically do the same thing. You jump right, and you jump left. And you repeat. Your bomb punch should be able to get everything. You may struggle a little bit with the mobs in the top here, as you can see. You can use True Spirit Claw for that one. And you just jump left and right. And this is a really, really good map. And the same thing goes here. Your Spirit Flow is off cooldown, you use it. You can use Spirit Claw, honestly, wherever feels comfortable. I would save it for the top left corner. And just basically repeat this. All the way. I would stay here until 215, if I were you. If you don't like this map, or if you really, really want to go to Choo-Choo, then I would say at 210, go to Biddy Bobble Forest 1. This is the map you can do until 220 or whatever feels comfortable for you. Let me get my distance up so I can actually get it out of there. And this is just also the same, but what you really need to do here is before you land, use the backstab. Backstab landing and cancelling bomb punch that way is very valuable like this. And this is a pretty smooth like rotation. You just need to get used to the animation cancelling on bomb punch. Even I struggle with it, even though I've done shade a lot. But you just repeat this. Jump left, animation cancel, jump right, animation cancel, jump left, animation cancel. That's all you do. I would skip this map if I were you. I would stay in Reverse City. I think it's better. But I haven't compared the rates because at the time I was doing shade from 205 to 215. Reverse City was not out yet. So I don't know the definitive rates. If you're uncertain, get a battle analysis, run a 5-minute test on both of the maps and pick the better one. Simple as that. It's always a good way to check. At 215, if you have the funding, go to Hidden Iliard Field and Yum Yum Island. I am fairly confident this map is better than any map until 2025. It has really high spawn, and your bomb punch can reach absolutely everything except for the absolute top right here, and you can kill those with your Spirit Claw. So you just jump all the way, you hit everything. The corner, the top left corner may also be a bit tricky, but you just do this. Jump, jump, kill. You can basically just continue and all the way. You can also do the cancel like I explained earlier, that way you do actually reach this corner, you just need to jump high. You can do it like this, and it will hit the mobs. And the same things here. Spirit Flow, off cooldown, use it. Spirit Gate, I'd either put it in the top left corner or in the top right, like here. You put your Lucid Soul in the other, and you just go ham. All the way until 225. If you don't like Yum Yum, if you don't have the funding, or if you'd rather go to Ledge, then I'd say Revelation Place 3 is the best map for Shade. Lo and behold, it works the exact same as everything else. Jump left, bomb punch, use to a Spirit Claw in the corner, and jump right. What you can do if you have Lucid Soul, you can put Soul all the way here in the top, like on this place. So that it takes care of this side because you take care of the rest. So you just jump right. You cancel, you jump left, you cancel. And exactly the same thing here. Flow off cooldown. I'd say put Gate in the corner or on the top of the roof, especially if you don't have Soul, you put it on the top left. And Incarnation where you feel like it, because Incarnation just wipes everything, like this, but it makes you stationary. So you cannot move during it. What you can do though, is when it's done you can cancel out of it with backstab so you can move faster, because it has a bit of ending lag, which you can also cancel. You do this until 225, and then you go to Arcana. And for Arcana, to me, the absolute best map that you can grind in as a Shade is Deep in the Cavern Lower Path 1, or LP1 short. And I don't think I have to explain to you what the rotation is here, do I? You guessed it. Drop it, and just jump left, jump right. Like, at this point you really should be fluent enough in bomb punch cancelling and backstab cancelling and all those kind of tricks. You can honestly put True Spirit Claw up wherever you want, it doesn't really matter because you can reach anything anyway with bomb punch. I would put it either in the middle like I do right now, or go all the way to the left side and use it. Oh, that's fall down. Use it here and cancel out of it. And yeah, you do the exact same thing here. Animation cancel, Spirit Flow when it's off cooldown, Spirit Gate on the top side, I would say put it in the middle. Put your Soul in the corner and just repeat all the way until 250. Now, I did not grind in Moraz, nobody grinds in Moraz. I did not grind in Esfera. I would say any of the MTS maps will probably do well, but I have not tested it and I cannot tell you if the rates are better. I would say try it out for yourself. Try MTS 2, 3, 4, you can even try 6 and 7 or 5 and 7. I'd say try these maps out. And if one works better for you, let me know in the comments, if you want. And that's how I did my road to 250 on my Shade. And this video is still a lot longer than I expected it to be. I mean, I actually did them in the same detail as Austin does. Well, look at that. My next 250 is going to be Mercedes. If you want to know why, there's a very simple reason. There is an achievement, I am an achievement hunter, and there is an achievement that requires me to level a 250 archer. And I want that. And considering I have Firestarter and Vacpat on the hero, it makes sense that Hero Archer is the next character, and that happens to be Merc. It's also because the other alternative for a decent Legion effect is Wild Hunter, and I absolutely could not stand Wild Hunter at all. I hated that class. So that made the choice fairly obvious for me. So Merc is going to be next. Do I know when? No. With the announcement of the Neo patch, a lot of things are changing. Most notably, farming in Arcana is going to be gutted at some point because you cannot stay in level range anymore because XP on death is being removed. And they're also reducing the XP requirement from 210 to 250 by 20%, which makes it more efficient to wait until Neo hits. But since the level cap is also increasing, I'll also be grinding on my main, so I have absolutely no idea when the next 250 will be, but I will say that I expect it to be sometime in 2021. It could also be that on the 31st of 2021 I'll upload the Merc video, I really don't know. For me, getting as many droplets as I can before Arcana farming is gutted is higher priority than getting my Legion characters up. So I'll be spending a lot of time on my second zero, in Labyrinth Cavern Upper Path, just grinding. And that's it. This video was a lot more lengthy than I thought it was going to be. If you have any questions about Shade, about my road, or whatever, just leave them in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.